Hi, welcome to the Architectural Lighting webinar. My name is David Ferraz, and I'm the Marketing Manager at PROLIGHTS. Today, we're going to talk about three series of products. We're going to talk about the LED spotlights, the EclDisplay series. We're going to talk about our LED floods, the ArcPod series, and we're going to talk about the image projector, the Mosaico series. So let's start with the LED spotlights, the EclDisplay series. So what's that? That's a very innovative product here at PROLIGHTS. We've developed the EclDisplay series specifically for kind of the fixed permanent solutions installation markets. So the EclDisplay series come in three different variants, the DAT, CC, and UN variants. We'll have a look at them later on in this presentation. So let's have a look at a quick overview of this series. So this is a universal permanent installation fixtures. So whether it's an art gallery, whether it's a museum, a theater, we can install these units as a kind of a permanent set, and they'll be very kind of long-lasting fixtures. They're actually composed, you can compose your device by building blocks of over 7,000 different configurations. So from different accessories, different colors, different LED sources, there's many different ways of using these products. So we've got 5 different LED sources available, so multiple white temperatures and color variants, which we'll look at that later in the presentation. And we've got different control variants, so 3 control variants as we've seen before, the UN, so that's the universal variant, the DAT, so the data variant, and the constant current, the CC variants as well. You can also choose from multiple housing colors, so as standard we have black or white variants, but we can also customize the units in any RAL color to fit your needs. So these units are designed for kind of long-lasting fixed installations and applications. We've built them with a new generation of optics, so zoomable profile lens and 2 wash lenses. And we can also mount these units in several different ways. So whether it's a track mount, whether it's just hanging the units from a pipe or a truss, or whether it's kind of ceiling mounts and use them as a recessed fixture, we can use them in many different ways. We have a wide range of accessories available, which we'll look at that later in the presentation as well. So from kind of optical accessories, beam shaping accessories, and control accessories. So it can really fit your needs. So whether you're kind of retrofitting or whether you're creating a new installation, there's many different ways of controlling these units. They're very compact and very powerful, as we'll see throughout the presentation as well. So in terms of applications, we can really use these units, whether it's an art gallery, we can use them in retail applications, restaurants, but we can also use them kind of in exhibitions and art centers, hotels, for example, so kind of a more retail commercial application. Or we can use them in kind of theme parks, in kind of indoor settings. We can also use them in kind of conference halls, so kind of to light them up entrances, light them up portraits and things like that, houses of worship, to really kind of light up the details of these venues. Or in cruise ships, for example, we can use them to kind of light up hallways, light up kind of reception areas, etc., etc. So in terms of the ways of controlling these units, as I said, we've got 3 different ways. We call the EclUN, EclDisplay DAT, or EclDisplay CC. So the EclDisplay UN, we can actually use a local knob to control kind of the dimming and the intensity of the unit, or we can use phase cut dimming to control that as well. We can also use the DMX protocol to control the dimming of these units. In DMX, we have 4 different modes, so 3-channel, 4-channel, 8-channel, or 15-channel modes. And basically, all of these modes really depend on the kind of features that you're using. So there's a 16-bit dimming, for example, where you can control with very fine dimming to look like an incandescent unit. And all of that, as you add more features, you add more DMX channels to control these units. We also have DALI available, so Type 8 DALI on the full color versions, on the FC versions, and we've also got Type 6 DALI on the white LED versions as well. And finally, we can use RDM on the EclDisplay UN units, and with RDM there's lots of different options, lots of different features that we can use to kind of fine-tune, control the different settings, control the dimming speeds, as we'll look throughout the presentation. The EclDisplay, that is very similar to the EclDisplay UN. As you can see in the features, the only thing that we don't have is a phase cut dimming, so you'll have to use the local knob dimming or use the MX to control the dimming settings of these units. Finally, the EclDisplay CC, that's the constant current version. The EclDisplay CC was really made to kind of replace and retrofit older installations, so just replace them with an LED spotlight alternative, and that you can connect the units to an external PSU, an external driver, so all the controls are not on board of the unit, so they're external controls, and you kind of just plug those controls straight to these units as you replace the older fixtures, for example. Let's look at the sources as well. As I've said in the beginning, we've got 5 different sources. So we've got 4 white versions available. So from 2700 Kelvin, 3000 Kelvin, 4000 Kelvin, or 5600 Kelvin variants. The white versions come with a 25-watt white LED chip. And because of that, we have a very high lumen flux and a very flat field coming from these units. The white versions also have a very high CRI and TLCI values. So I know that's something that's very important for the architectural world, for the broadcast world, for the theatrical world. So we've made sure we have very high quality LEDs with a very high CRI value. You can actually check all of the photometrics of these units on our website, and you will see just how good the LED technology behind that is. Finally, we've got a full color variant, so that's an RGB plus warm white variant. That's a 40 watts LED chip, and having the warm white chip as well allows us not to just create very saturated colors, but also to create a very kind of fine pastel colors, very beautiful colors coming from the chip as well. So let's have a look at the optics for the EclDisplay. So we've got 3 different optics available. So 1 profile lens and 2 wash lens. So let's look at the profile lens. That's a zoomable lens from 20 degree to 40 degree profile lens. We actually also have framing shutters, so you can control the zoom with the top knobs, and we can also control the framing shutters, the 4 framing shutters on the side as well, to kind of frame the beam specifically to your objects. This barrel also rotates 360 degrees, so we can really kind of fine-tune our beam to the objects that we're lighting up. Let's have a look at the demo from that. So here, as we can see, we can really kind of close up the shutters to kind of frame the beam onto the light, and we actually have a lockable knob as well. So after you frame it, we can lock up the shutters and kind of make sure that there's no vibrations or by accident you don't deframe kind of the objects. We can also rotate the barrel 360 degrees, as I said, and then kind of shape that light beam coming from the source onto our objects. So looking at the EclDisplay, the wash optics, so we've got 2 different lenses. So we've got a zoomable lens from 15 degrees to 30 degree wash lens, and then we've got a 25 to 50 degree wash lens as well. And we can control the zoom by bringing the lens backwards and forwards, and then kind of locking that with the knob on the top of the lens as well. So here we can see kind of a render of how that would look like with the wash lens, the 15 degree to 30 degree. So whether it's a small object or whether you're kind of lighting up something at a close distance, this lens is kind of ideal for that. So it's a kind of a tighter lens with a very kind of nice spread, very nice wash onto the objects. On the 25 to 50 degree lens, as you can see, so whether it's a larger object or whether you're lighting up something at a kind of a longer distance, this will be the perfect lens for you. On the profile lens, so the 20 to 40 degree zoom profile lens, as we can see here, so whether it's a smaller object, whether it's a large object, whether you're lighting up at a long distance or a shorter distance, this would be ideal. Using the framing shutters, you can really kind of tighten and wrap your light, your source onto the objects. So let's talk a little bit about the housing of the fixture as well. So this is a die-cast aluminium housing combined with polycarbonate cover. There's no fan, so it's a passive cooling system, so it's completely silent, ideal for kind of noise-sensitive environments. We also have a lockable tilt angle with an X screw, so we kind of lock that in place, and the 360 lens rotation as well with the lockable shutters. As I said before, this is not only just a track light, so we can actually have an M10, an M12 thread for rigging. So whether it's a hook lamp, whether it's a C clamp, we can use that and kind of hang the unit off of a pipe, off of a truss. So not necessarily just a track lighting, but also kind of a very versatile unit for any application. In terms of the colors of the housing, so as we said in the beginning, we've got two standard colors, that's black or white, with the accessories in those colors as well. But we can also customize these units in any RAL color on demand, normally kind of on larger quantities. But by doing that, we can make sure that these units can go to kind of any environment that kind of really needs a specific color to kind of blend in with whether it's the ceiling, whether it's the actual environment. So we can really paint these units in any color to make sure that you can hide these units and they can be kind of like a low profile type of fixture. In terms of the software features, let's look at that as well. Because ProLights comes from a very theatrical background, we've got a lot of features that kind of come from that world. So starting with the 16-bit smooth dimming, what that does is you can actually use these units in using like a very incandescent type of feel, because 16-bit smooth dimming, what it does is that it allows us like a very smooth dimming curve from 0 to 100 and then from 100 to 0 to kind of imitate that the classical look of those incandescent lights. We also have strobe functions, so if you're kind of using these units in a more kind of entertainment background, or whether it's like a broadcast or film and TV, we can use this feature as well. And this strobe kind of imitates the kind of strobe feel that you get from the entertainment units. So on the UN, that's full color versions. We also have linear CCT channel. So what that does is we can transition from kind of a very warm tone to a very cold white tone. So from 2800 Kelvin upwards of 10,000 Kelvin, we can adapt the color temperature of the fixture specifically to kind of the temperature that you want within this range. We also have a virtual color wheel, so you don't actually have to pick the color through the color picker, but you can choose from a library of gels and filters and kind of use that virtual color wheel to kind of match to whether it's a gel in entertainment or the broadcast world. So you can recall that color very, very easily without having to mess up with the DMX channels. We also have a crossfade channel from white to any color. And what we can do with that is we can easily blend in kind of a white tone, whether it's like it's a warm white or a cool white tone, and achieve very beautiful pastel colors and kind of blend in with the RGB mixing and do like a very nice color blending using that channel. It's also very useful for kind of the broadcast world. So if we're doing like a quick transition from a color like an RGB color to a white tone, we can achieve that very quickly with that crossfade channel that we have on board of these units. So looking at the 16-bit dimming here in the demo, we can see that we've got a very smooth transition from 0 up to 100. So there's absolutely no flicker. It just imitates an incandescent unit very, very well with no issues whatsoever. In terms of the CCT control, as we can see here in this video, we can blend in from kind of a very warm tone upwards of a very kind of cool white tone, and then fading out with no flicker, just like you would see in a kind of a classical unit. In terms of the crossfade, so from white to any color, as we can see here, we can easily blend in those colors and kind of achieving a very beautiful pastel onto kind of a very saturated color using that specific channel that we have assigned for you. Let's look at the RDM features as well. So as we've talked in the beginning, we've got our RDM on board. So what that does, RDM is a remote device management. So we can use that to tweak the settings of the fixtures very, very easily. So starting with the DMX modes, we've got 4 DMX modes as we've seen in the beginning. So 3, 4, 8 channels or 15 channels. Then we also have 4 dimming curves. What we can do with those dimming curves is that we can set to kind of look like different fixtures, different kind of incandescent fixtures or classical fixtures, and we can adjust the dimming speed as well. We've also got the LED frequency, the PWM control. What we can do with that is we can set the frequency of the LEDs and kind of use these units in kind of broadcast worlds and ultra high definition environments. By adjusting the PWM frequency, we can make sure that there's no flicker from the LEDs on the cameras, because we control kind of the refresh rate of the LEDs and match that with the camera. So it just looks very, very seamlessly, and there's no flicker when you point a ultra high definition camera onto the unit. Finally, we can get a lot of information from the kind of the RDM parameters, information on the fixtures, so whether it's the lifetime of the LEDs, whether it's kind of the runtime of the units, the source hours, power cycle, maintenance time, as well as the fact that all of these units do have firmware inside of them, so we can check the firmware version, and we can get a lot of device information from the RDM parameters as well. We can also set the master DMX or master no DMX options on these units. We can choose kind of standalone settings as well. So if we do not have kind of an advanced platform to control these units, we can choose how the unit behaves in standalone, and we can do all the firmware updates through these RDM parameters as well. So looking at the multiple uses of this fixture, as we said in the beginning, this is not only just a track install unit, but we can use them in 3 different ways. So starting with the track installation, so whether you're kind of retrofitting, you're upgrading your infrastructure and replacing kind of older track units into the EclDisplay units, we have a lot of accessories available from Nordic. So whether it's just the U-tracks, whether it's the track adapter, we have a lot of that we can provide to you with these fixtures. We can also use these units hanging from kind of a truss or from a pipe. So with that M12 threads that we have on the top of the unit, we can fit a hook lamp, we can fit a C clamp, and then just hang them off of anywhere. And finally, we have a sealing kit. What it does is we can use this unit as kind of a recessed installation features. So by using the sealing kits and the flanges, we can kind of hang them off any ceiling, from whether it's an office, whether it's a hallway from a hotel, in many different ways. And then the EclDisplay will be kind of the perfect unit for that, with the many uses of the kind of the wash lenses, the profile lenses, etc. So all of these accessories are also available, whether it's in black or in white, and you can kind of find them through the website. So let's have a look at a quick video about all of the accessories that we have available for the EclDisplay.
There is a wide range of accessories available for the EclDisplay. This includes a honeycomb louver, half snoot, full snoot, filter frame, indexable gobble holder, 4-leaf barn doors, and a sealing kit. The barn door and filter frame kit come together as one. The support can be screwed to the wash lenses, and by opening the top latch, you can insert the filter frame and the barn doors. The full snoot can be used to control the direction and radius of the light source or to reduce glare. Just attach it to the front of the lens by fastening the 3 screws. There is also a half snoot available for the finer details. It can be attached just like the full snoot. The honeycomb louver offers maximum control over the light beam, with stiff metal tunnels that allow controlling spill, focusing the light exactly where you want it with minimal loss. The indexable gobbo holder allows to insert any E-size gobbo. You can fit the holder into the slot of the profile lens. Its clever design allows to rotate the gobbo very easily with your finger in any 360-degree position without having to remove the gobbo from the holder. The EclDisplay can be used as a recessed spotlight with a sealing kit. Simply attach the optional flange to the ceiling. Then, screw the main support down and attach the EclDisplay to the arm downwards. You can adjust its height and tilt positions.
So you can see there's a lot of accessories for the EclDisplay. You can find all about these accessories on our website on PROLIGHTS.it. Let's move on and look at the ArcPod series. So the ArcPod series is our range of LED floods. So we have 4 different variants as we look through the presentation. These are fully weatherproofed units, so IP rated units, and as you can see, they'll be the perfect fits whether to light up a building, light up a facade, light up kind of a park. These are very powerful units with a lot of color control, color options, and as we'll see through the slides as well. So starting off with the ArcPod 15Q. This is kind of our smallest unit. So the ArcPod 15Q is kind of an RGBW full color IP66 LED washlight for exterior installations. So that's composed with 15 chips of kind of 10-watt LEDs. It's IP66 rated with a very high luminous flux for kind of the size of the unit. So we're looking at 5,900 lumens on this fixture. The beam angle, so we're looking at kind of a 25 to 38 degree angle. So we've got a lot of accessories available. So whether it's a 10 degree, 15 degree, and 40 degree accessories, so lenses available for these units with wide presets. So again, from 2,800 Kelvin upwards of 10,000 Kelvin to kind of light up more classical buildings. If we want to kind of light them up with a warm color or a cool color, cool white color, we've got a whole range of presets available for you. We also have a tilt angle, so from 0 degrees to 130 degree angle to kind of really adjust the heads of the floods to your building and making sure that you've got a kind of a nice spread onto the objects that you're lighting up. So next up, we've got the ArcPod 27Q. So the ArcPod 27Q is a kind of a 27 LED emitters. So again, with the 10-watt LED emitters times 27 RGBW full color, also IP66 rated, with a luminous flux of 11,200 lumens. The beam angle is very similar, so from 15 degree beam angle with a field angle of 28 degree, again with the accessories available of 10 degree, 25 degree, and 45 degree optics available as well. Same wide presets from 2,800 Kelvin upwards of 10,000 Kelvin with the tilt angle from 0 to 130 degrees. So this is kind of a larger unit comparing with the 15Q for kind of a larger spread, so a larger building, parks, for example, and kind of urban environments, as it were. So next up, we've got the ArcPod 48Q. So this is kind of a very popular unit for us. Again, so that's the same wattage, so 10 watt emitters, this time times 48. As you'll see the trend, kind of each ArcPod, the numbers refers to the number of LEDs, the number of emitters that these units have. Also IP66 rated with a luminous flux of 23,000 lumens. Field angle varies a little bit from the previous unit, so from 15 degrees to 27 degrees, same wide presets with the optics, the 10 degree, 25 degree, and 45 degree optics available. That's very easy to change as well. So if you've got kind of a more specific project that you're working on, we can really have a look at what sort of accessories would work better for your projects. Finally, we've got the same tilt angle as well. So as I said, this is a very popular unit for us. It's kind of one of the best sellers, as it were, for PROLIGHTS. And again, it achieves kind of a very wide, a very flat field with beautiful colors. So with the RGBW emitters, you can achieve from kind of very saturated colors to very beautiful pastels, and mixing very, very easily through that kind of RGB active color mixing. Finally, on the ArcPod range, we've got the ArcPod 96Q. So this is kind of our bigger units that we have. So it's very high powers, 2-head units. So we've got 96 10 watts RGBW emitters, again with the same IP66 rating. In terms of the IP66 rating, we're looking at things like water, like dust, that these units can withstand. We can also withstand very cold temperatures to very warm temperatures. So we're looking at from minus 20 degree upwards of 40 degree Celsius that these units can withstand. And we can actually test all of these qualities here at our headquarters in Italy through kind of our environmental chamber laboratories. In terms of the luminous flux, with the 96Q, we can achieve upwards of 46,000 lumens. So as you can see here, it's a very impressive output that we have on these units. We've got the two heads. So as you can see, the beam angle and the field angle here, very little bits. Again, because of the different heads that we have. So we've got the 15 degree angle on the top head and 10 degree on the bottom head, and then we've got the 25 and 45 degree accessories available, the optics accessories available as well, so if we want to create kind of a wider wash on these units. We've got the same white presets, so from 2800 Kelvin to 10,000 Kelvin. Again, this is very useful if we're kind of doing a retrofit and upgrade from older installations where we have older incandescent units. We can quickly kind of replace those and install these units, and then kind of use the new technology to kind of light up the buildings and be more energy efficient as well. The tilt angle, as we can see here, it also varies from the previous unit, so we can do like a full 180 degree tilt angle on these units with the two heads, and we can have kind of different angles on each head as well, and kind of shape it depending on kind of the objects that we have. Let's look a little bit on the IP66 rating of these units as well. So as we can see here, the units can really withstand kind of all of the elements, so whether it's water, whether it's dust. It really kind of achieves a very good kind of weatherproof condition. And as we can see here in this video, we can do kind of from very nice saturated colors to very kind of very nice pastel colors using that RGBW color mixing system. So if you're not familiar with RGBW LED systems, we can actually use the white chip to achieve that kind of combination between the saturated colors to the pastel colors, and really achieve several hundreds of thousands of colors using that same chip. In terms of the applications, I mean, there's really no limit to what you can do with these units. We can see a few examples here. So we've used these units recently on World Tropical Diseases Day. We kind of lit up the Rome Coliseum, as we can see here. We've also used in different applications, so we've used it here in Pisa as well to kind of light up the tower. So there's a lot of different applications, a lot of different settings that we can use these units for. Not only big monuments, but we can also we've done projects, whether it's kind of a smaller house, a smaller park, upwards of very fine and kind of recognizable buildings as well. So that's it on the ArcPod series. You can visit more through PROLIGHTS.it and just visit the architectural page, and you can find these units there as well. So next up, we're going to look at our Mosaico series. So the Mosaico series is a series of image projectors. So what we can do with these, we can project any sort of kind of static image and then create very dynamic effects using the features that we have inside the units. So there's really no small or large scale where we can't do any beautiful effects with the Mosaico series. We've got 3 different units that I'm going to show you now. These units have very similar features. However, they come in different sizes, they have different sources, and you'll see some of them will have kind of more effects than the smaller units. And obviously that kind of reflects on the final price of the units as well. So let's start with the Mosaic Junior. So this is a 70 watt IP66 zoomable LED image projector with gobos and a color wheel. So let's start with the source. That's a 70 watt white LED source. That LED source is a fixed 7000 Kelvin white source. It's IP rated, so IP66, with a luminous flux of 2628 lumens. The zoom range is between 15 degree to 45 degree with a motorized zoom, and we've got 7 filters on one color wheel and 7 rotating gobos, and those gobos can be customizable. So whether you're celebrating Christmas, whether you're celebrating Easter, or whether you just want to kind of project the logo of your company onto a building, you can use the Mosaic Junior to kind of any application. And use customizable gobos to kind of project that onto your building facade, onto the park, onto whatever object or landscape that you want. So next up, we've got the Mosaico fixture. It's truly a bestseller for us. So it's a 250 watt IP66 zoomable LED image projector with an animation wheel. So in terms of the source, let's start up with that. So that's a 250 watt white LED source with 8,500 Kelvin. It's also an IP rated unit, so IP66, with a luminoflux of 11,667 lumens. The zoom range, 13 degrees up to 47 degrees, again with a motorized zoom, so you don't have to kind of control the zoom feature manually, so you can control through the MX, for example. We've got 17 filters on 2 color wheels, so we've got more filters than we have on the Mosaico Junior. And then we've got an animation wheel, and that's customizable as well. What we can do with that animation wheel, we can create kind of very dynamic effects, like a water kind of effect, for example. And there's many different options that we can do with that. Again, whether it's an image, whether it's a gobo, whether it's a logo, we can use the Mosaico to kind of project whatever you need as well. Finally, we've got the Mosaico XL unit, so that's a 540 watts IP66 zoomable LED image projector with CMY and framing shutter. So the source, we're looking at a 500 watt source, that's a white LED of 6,000 Kelvin, again IP66 rated, with a fantastic luminoflux of 14,253 lumens. Zoom range, so we've got a wider zoom range from 7 degree to 50 degree. And again, a motorized zoom, so we're looking at kind of a very impressive zoom range. And what we can do with the Mosaico XL is that we can actually project all of these images from a very large distance, much larger than we can do with the Mosaico or with the Mosaico Junior. So whether you're projecting from the other side of a river, for example, the other side of a park, whether you're projecting onto a big building, a skyscraper, for example, the Mosaico XL has the exact source for that with the exact zoom range for that as well. So the color system here is a little bit different from the Junior and the Mosaico. So we've got a linear CMY with CTO control. So we can actually, there's almost like a limitless choice of colors that we can do with the Mosaico XL, thanks to the linear CMY flags that we have inside. And finally, we have a motorized framing shutter. What we can do with that, we can do precise gobo mapping. We can use those framing shutters to kind of wrap our beam onto any objects. And again, whether it's a large building, whether we're doing a little mapping animation onto buildings, the Mosaico XL feature is the exact unit that you should be using for your projects. Let's look a little bit on the zoom features. So this is an example from the Mosaico, the linear zoom from 10 watts to 45 watts. So as you can see here, it's kind of a very smooth zoom range, as we can see here in the video. And then on the Mosaico feature, as we can see here, the animation wheel. So we've got those 2 color wheels with filters on each layer. As we can see here, those colors. We've got the CTO and CTB color correction filters as well. So if we're just kind of wanting an incandescent look, and then the rotating gobo wheel with the 7 gobos, so we can achieve very fine animations very, very easily using the MX. We can also control that speed and that rotation, and we can change the gobos, as we can see here, whether it's a Christmas gobo, whether it's just a logo, we can do that and change that very, very easily. And then we've got the rotating animation wheels, so we can achieve these kind of water effects. We can achieve fiery effects, for example, and we can change that animation. As you can see here in the video, we've got like a very nice snow effect for winter, for example, for kind of the Christmas period. And then using that animation to kind of achieve different colors and the prism, the frost, to kind of blend in the shape of the source onto our objects and kind of create very fine dynamic effects, or more of a kind of a theatrical effect if that's kind of what you're choosing. So here we can see a list of kind of examples and projects that we've worked on. As you can see here on the left, we've got the HMW TV and events that we did in 2019. So that's actually a very large distance between the Mosaico and the building, as we can see here, and still achieves kind of a very high output when we're projecting onto the building. On the right-hand side, as we can see here, kind of a Christmas display that's also using the Mosaico fixtures. So using the gobos, we can achieve those kind of snowflaked kind of shapes and really customize the building, and really kind of wrap up the building with color, with some sort of life during those holiday periods as well. So that's it on the Mosaico range. You can find more about the Mosaico range on our website, so visit PROLIGHTS.it and you'll see all these 3 different features there as well. I hope you've enjoyed this webinar. Please do stay with us for all of the other webinars. If you have any questions, please feel free to kind of reach out to us, and don't forget to like and subscribe all of our channels to kind of keep up with more information at ProLights. Thank you very much, and I'll see you at the next webinar.